The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
Well, hopefully. Does that set everything up? That should be good right there. Now I was fooling around. I should be on now. Anyway, welcome to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Yeah, usually before the show starts, we test the microphones, but we didn't do it today, and they got us. So what can we say? So what else is happening out here? Well, let's take a look at the markets already in progress over most of TFNN.com. Up 2.7 on the S&P cash, up 25 on the Dow, and up 7.5 on the NASDAQ. That's coming off of futures that showed an open at one time somewhere around 11 or 12 to the downside. I think we got down to -7 on the S&Ps. So kind of a little pop up here. Volume's not very exciting, just under 2 billion shares as we start the show. But we're just in this time frame. As I said before, this is a very tough time to get people to start throwing up their shares. If they've got a huge loser, maybe it goes lower. If they got huge winners, it seems to be you could tell them that they're that the CEOs out there sacrificing young babies to Satan, and it would still be very tough for them to sell their shares before the beginning of the year. They think things will get better. So just seasonally, it's tough to push the market down. I did a lot of work over the weekend. We'll see if it bears any fruit, but I tried some other techniques to see, momentum techniques to see what would go on. But everything in all the models I've ever worked on over the last, so it says 2017. So I started in January 2003 writing models. So how many years is that? 14 years? So in 14 years of writing models, models are kind of like maps. You kind of have to defer to reality, not what the maps are telling you. Kind of like GPS. If it told you to drive off a cliff, would you do it? Well, there are a handful of people that have, but I shouldn't do it. And as Jesse Livermore was fond of saying, every sunken ship had a chart at one time. But you can see what else is going on out here. Anyway, as we said, kind of a quiet day. Could have been worse. Not long after the open, we started seeing some at least slightly bullish details coming out of the tax committees in the Senate. Things look like maybe something will actually happen. 99% of everything that we're waiting for the stock market has to do with 20% cap gains rate. Not cap gains, but the 20% corporate rate. And of course, we all know about that is how much money can they repatriate into the United States and give to shareholders. That is literally what we're waiting on. All the rest, all the yelling and screaming between each side of the political aisle doesn't probably mean a whole lot to the stock price of and stock indexes, although we'd like to think that they did. But for the most part, it's just how much cash is going to come back. And, we got $1.7 trillion sitting on the sideline. If that came back to America, what would the consequences of that be? Why don't you give me a call at 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always post a message in the den. Comment in the den. Even the captain of Edmund Fitzgerald had a chart. Look where that got him. Not only that, but that irritating song that makes you want to kill Canadians. Oh, boy. There's a handful of songs you shouldn't play on Christmas Eve that just make you want to jump off a bridge and end it all. That is certainly one. He had some good songs, but man, there's some heavy songs that shouldn't be played more than once a year. And even then, shouldn't be played anywhere around a holiday where anybody's been drinking or has access to firearms. That's one of those songs. I think that you can check both boxes, firearms and drinking. And probably being on a boat while you're drinking drinking and having firearms. Probably that would be the trifecta of calling the suicide prevention hotline and then being put on hold. So what else do we have out here? Well, that's kind of it. Let's get to a little bit of history. We'll get to some charts today. Make sure and give me a call. I'm starting to feel like the Maytag repairman. Yeah, just a little.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1851, laid by British telegraphic engineer John Brett Watkins and his brother Jacob Brett, the world's first operational underwater telegraph cable opens for business, connecting the English city of Dover to the French city of Calais. The cable was ran at the narrowest point of the English Channel. With this link, communications between London and Paris was made possible instantaneously. And of course, after this, just about a year or two later, it kind of reminds me of the stock market when everybody saw a social media company start to do well. They all wanted to be social media companies. Just kind of like when gold started to come out in 2001, many of these flaky fly-by-night companies that had nothing to do with gold put gold in the title of their penny stocks to fool a few people. But this wasn't a fool. This guy started in the United States, though, just a couple of years later, wanting to make a telegraph cable that went across from the United States, well, actually from a little farther north in Canada, all the way over to England, because it saved a lot of miles. But that took 30 years to complete. We'll talk about that and more when we come back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Anyway, we're talking about history, and kind of one of the first big technological progressions, of course, was being able to cable people things. But to me, the interesting part of this whole story is they make this little 20-mile run between England and France. And then a guy who absolutely knows nothing about anything that has to do with this decides he wants to build it. And it's kind of almost a Elon Musk story if Elon Musk knew nothing about technology. A little bit more about that, but just find somebody that doesn't know anything. And then, of course, hire somebody as your technical advisor, scientific technical advisor that also knows zero. And don't do any tests. Just go ahead and start throwing big cables in the water. And that's why it took till after the Civil War for us to get a connection between the New World and the Old World. But if you ever catch the making of this cable, you will understand why I'm always a little skeptical about giant projects and their completion dates and whether or not they're viable or not, because most of them end up much more like this story than other stories. Also on this day in 2000, a much younger Dave White listens to the CEO of Microsoft telling everybody on this day in 2000 that tablets would be the future, showing one of the first tablets off. They made 50,000, they sold 1,000 or 2,000, and you didn't hear anything about tablets until about 2012 again. A lot of false starts. But of course, on this day in 1973, the first working Ethernet with Mr. Metcalf, who invented that in 1973, actually connected two different computers together in two vastly different, I think it was North and South colleges in California. And a lot of new technology stuff happened on this day. Anyway, let's go ahead and start looking at some charts, because I could talk about all this stuff all day long. But what else you got out here? Okay, first thing is got a couple of okay. Well, the question here is about IBB and my thoughts on the IBB. Well, I certainly think that this thing is kind of trying to make its way back into 302.57, which is the August 21st low. You're not that far away from it today. You're down on light volume. I'm just saying that there's probably some better trades between now and the end of the year. They're probably not in the ETFs for the most part. Again, I'm looking for stocks that have amazingly high short interest rates and have quit going down, because I need, as volume starts to decline in the next 6 weeks as we go into the beginning of next year, I need some natural buyers in this stuff, because for the most part, not going to be a lot of news that drives the indexes higher. You're probably going to get one big day with the tax bill passing, and then you're going to be back to kind of a doldrums-like market. You might get a couple of days of follow through, but there's going to be, in fact, what do they say about flying? It's hours and hours of boredom with 30 seconds of sheer terror thrown in. That's about it. You get 2 good hours and then 30 seconds of terror. And I think that's kind of a good description of what we're looking for come this fall. I don't think we have a lot farther to the downside to go. We're probably going to bounce up to 2,600. And the thing is, at that point, you're going to have a lot of people looking at the end of the year. So again, I'm looking at very specific stocks. I see some in the IBB that I'd probably rather have than the IBB itself. So not a big fan. The energy was a little bit more to the downside off this October 6th high. There are other ETFs and other sectors where the energy off the highs has been less. And that would probably be the ones I would be more apt to look at than this one. Do I think it's going to break 302? No. My thoughts are that probably the buy on the IBB is going to be around January 1st or 2nd. If this thing just kind of comes out here and there's not much juice, and then you'd play it for the move back up to 342 as the high. The energy's been okay, and you had the big down day where you had some energy out here with 2.3 million shares, but there's just not a lot of, you want some wind at your back, and it's at your back, it's at your front, it's at your back. IBB just does not have a lot of stuff going on. Okay, taking a look at some of these other things. We'll look at that during the break. I've got somebody asking me a question, so we'll look at that. And we got about 2 minutes, so I'll answer you on that one. See out here. Okay. A few other things we want to look at. And okay. Question about NVIDIA coming across. So we'll take a quick look at that. Of course, it bounced on earnings. You got a little bit of a pullback here today, but it's on nothing in the way of volume. Again, these stocks at highs are incredibly hard to get people to start selling between now and the end of the year. But the good part normally is if these things are just hanging up with no juice going into the end of the year, you can see maybe a short in the morning on January 2nd or 3rd, whenever we come back. And a lot of times you'll find that people actually sell into the new year on the first day. And a lot of time you can get some decent moves for a one-day trade. But I think we're going to have to get going again in January before I see a lot more. Okay, got another question about the IYT. I think we commented on this one when a lot of people are asking. Yeah, it gave a fairly decent signal about coming off, but now it's into support. That's about all I was looking for, was 170, 172. We got down to 170.37 today. Now, what kind of volume do you have? You've got 150,000 shares. That goes back into, is that 90? That's actually some decent volume. I'm trying to remember what I saw out here. Oh, this volume out here, 355,000 shares on September 5th. That's kind of probably where support is. So could you get to 169? I think you can. Energy is a little bit better down here on the IYT, but if you're looking for one sector that continues to sell, you want to look at that. Let's see, we're going to break. We'll be back. Try to answer a couple of personal questions during the break, but give me a call. I'm feeling like that lonely Maytag repairman. 877-927-6648.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. And got a question. Do I see anything extensive in Maxwell out here? And the answer is no. It came down with pretty heavy volume. Could you get back up to 570? I think you can. There was some news that I'm not sure this one's popping on, but it had to do with MIT and Lamborghini. But other than that, just sometimes you get a lot of people on one side, a lot of shorts in this thing. Still think this could be one of these stocks that goes from $5 to $1,000. The question is just when the timing is and whether or not these are the guys, to the first rats to the cheese. A lot of business going on in this one. I think that if these guys, they know, they don't know that they're sitting on a pot of gold and just can't get it done, just not smart enough. I don't know. Always tough to tell. Huge downside short interest in this thing from this gap down on the 20th, and that's probably where you're going to find anything above $5. You're probably going to see people shorting this once again. But I think this would be the one that you don't want to be short the day that they figure something out. But again, you know, you have to sit on this one another 2 years before they announce that they can turn lead into gold. Very tough to say. So that's it. But certainly in the right business. The question is just when it happens. Okay, got a few more questions coming in via email. So let's take a quick look at those. Where's my email thingy? Okay. I think we got those two questions answered. Okay. Any question? Okay. Someone wants me to look at UNG. I know we've got a lot of people that are bulls. It looks like that natural gas gotten back above $3. It's down 4.3 cents today. So you're a little off out here. The thing that you always have to worry about is in natural gas is, of course, that it's a byproduct of drilling for crude where the real cash is. So when we look at something like UNG, this thing did gap up. It was a little higher. Temperatures got a little colder. But we had 7 new wells go back online from the Baker Hughes rig count, and a lot of those actually produce natural gas as a byproduct. And where does that put you? Well, you got a little hammer candle out here, but you know, you start with every rig you put back on is just a little bit more natural gas where we have a ton already. And you know, you've got to get, you know, the old saying is, of course, the best cure for a high price is a high price, and the best cure for a low price is a low price. But since this is really driven for the most part by crude development, and there is so much of natural gas being still flared off, that the very upside in natural gas in UNG is probably $10 if everything went to hell in a handbasket. So, you know, you'd have to have a lot of things go your way to get a huge move in natural gas. Not saying, you know, these things have happened before. I just don't see that right now. But, you know, I think if you wanted to play with the UNG, you're looking at $6.20 out here in the middle of this gap is where you want this thing to come back on light volume. We get a couple of weeks of nice weather, and then that gets back to about 620. And then we get some nasty weather. That could be your ABC up and past the $6.98 high in UNG back on September 18th. So also have a little question about what's going on in GLD. I don't see anything from what we talked about last week. This thing's in a big triangle. I would love for this thing to wash out everybody. I heard somebody talking earlier about some big trades in the GLD, or in gold actually, and that the market was able to take a bunch of sales in the gold bullion and absorb it. Made me think, not in this particular case, but maybe think of Jesse Livermore's story, where a guy had a very hot tip, came in the door, said, "Hey, I got I know exactly what Irving Gould, the biggest guy on Wall Street at the time, is doing. He's doing this, this, and this. So if you buy it, I'm giving you a great tip. I know it. My brother-in-law works or something for him. He's buying. And he says, okay, give me a minute. And he goes over and he says, sell 10,000 of whatever it was, some railroad. And he says, I told you he's buying it. The stock's going up. Jesse Livermore kind of looks at him and goes, yeah, I understand what you told me. And he gets the report back for the 10,000 shares sold short. And he says, sell another 10,000. And so they sell another 10,000 shares. He goes, I'm going to take this tip somewhere else if you are just going to go the opposite way on this. I told you that he's buying it. I told you. He goes, yeah, I know. But I've been around this market for a little while. I know a few things or two. Just sit down. Just relax. And, of course, the report comes back in a couple of 10 minutes or something. Yep, he sold those 10,000 shares, but he looked at what they were selling for. He goes, okay, I get the point. The market could accept those 20,000 shares without a problem. There was somebody there to buy them. And that was for all Jesse Livermore needed to make sure that the tip had some validity, that there was somebody down there buying those things. And he went from selling 20,000, I think, to buying 100,000 of some railroad company. And that was going into some consolidation of the railroad companies. And I think it went up 4 times. He gave the guy that gave him the tip a good amount. But the guy kind of freaked out, not knowing what to do. And a lot of people, I kind of get the same kind of thing as people look at stocks and they think they all should move like we trade them, i.e. small amounts. But there's always some whales out there. And a lot of times for those whales, they may just do something that seems a little ridiculous, i.e. selling to find out how good the buying is. And it always just made me think of that story because I've seen it and used it before. But that's it. Anyway, on GLD, there's nothing out here. Like I said, I still like the triangle formation we talked about last week. I want this thing, if you're thinking of selling, if you want to be bearish, you probably want this thing to break out, go higher, and then come back into the triangle. If you're bullish, you want this thing to probably pop on down out of this triangle, probably to like 118 on the GLD, and then have this thing start moving back up. If you get a false breakout to the bottom, would probably be the best signal you could get long term. I'm not talking on the 30-minute charts or anything else, but I mean 3-6 months down the line, the best thing that we could see is this thing plop on down to 119, 118, and then pop right back up to 120 and find all those buyers. We'll be back in a minute.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks. Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The Taz Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the Taz Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the Taz Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the Taz Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And we're back. A question about a new IPO called Bandwidth came out last week. It is kind of the equivalent of Twilio, TWLO, and I'll let you worry about Bandwidth, but it's I think it's BNWD. But Twilio was kind of the hot trader out here, and of course everybody wants to get in on the action. I'll bring up several stocks that wanted to be the next Chipotle, and of course now that Chipotle has laid it down, not much happened. What else can you say? But anyway, Twilio's up a little bit. Do I think that there's anything happening out here? No. So, resistance probably going to be somewhere around $27. What you really have to worry about is this huge leg down from October 20th at 33.07 down to this low on Friday at 25.16. You get a bounce? Yeah, maybe you do. But again, Twilio's been out for a few years now. They'll be on Bandwidth as the next one to flog and get everybody all hot and bothered about. Are both these companies okay? As far as I can tell, yeah. But I haven't done a deep dive in either one of them. But it seems to attract a lot of fast buck artists, and you should watch it fairly closely. One thing you can say is Twilio now has some fairly decent competition, and you probably should think of that when now there's two companies. There's still kind of a winner-take-all, but that kind of takes a while to develop. But in the stock market, of course, people pushing stock out are all about one thing, and that is whatever's hot and late, whatever's hot now, and Bandwidth is the other one. Yeah, Twilio's big time shorted too. It may do something. I'm not saying it's not, but certainly keep an eye on both of these stocks. It's a BW Band, BNWD. Is that it? I think that's the name of it. Hang on a second here real quick. BAND is the symbol, BA. They went public, what, on Thursday or Friday? trying to remember now. See if I can find it. Okay, it's off that. And a little spike there first day. Okay, so you got 2 days out here. You got today and Friday. But this one is certainly the other side of the coin. And let's see if you got anything else here to say. Okay, I got a question here. See if I can answer that one real quick. END. Hang on a second. Okay. Leading cloud-based communications platform for enterprises in the United States. Solutions include a broad range of software applications, including interfaces for voice and text functionality, and our owned and managed multi-purpose Internet Protocol voice network, one of the largest in the nation. And the whole idea on this is if you're using some kind of technology to connect offices all over the country and not use traditional phone lines, but use internet protocol to call your different offices and have webinars and other stuff like that. You're kind of at the whim and mercy of whether or not a lot of these guys are going to give you the bandwidth that you need, hence the name of the company. So what these guys do is have dedicated lines so that when you're using the service, they know that there's enough bandwidth to get good audio and video across it. So that's it. Now, let's take a quick look at TWLO, because I forgot to look at that. But yeah, Dano in the Den is right on this one. So kind of a good, interesting chart to look at. Maybe this thing could be one that runs by the end of the year. But you had on the 7th of November, this thing was 30% of the shares all day were started with a short position. You had 25%, 27%. Friday was one of the lighter days at 21%. So, yeah, could you see a lot of shorts build up and something? Again, really to get the best bang for the buck, you're looking for something that's going to run from about a day or two before Thanksgiving into about the 15th or the 18th of December. Even if you have these things short, they don't tend to move a lot, maybe 1% higher into Christmas. So, I mean, if you're fighting over pennies right before Christmas, probably not a good thing to do. Use a lot of energy in your trading activities, not get much cash back. But certainly, yeah, it would qualify. So what else do we have we want to look at out here? There are a few things, handful of them. Wanted to see how United States Steel is doing. Everything's just kind of slow today on the internet. Maybe it's my provider, but seems rather slow on some things. Okay, United States Steel. Again, I'm not wanting to be the guy out here shorting things going into Christmas, but you got a lot of to the upside on, maybe not. But to me, this would be one of these stocks where if anything doesn't go the way the president wants on his funding bills in the next year or so, this one could find its way back down to 18 or 19 bucks. But the ideal place to short this thing would be around 30 bucks. We're kind of slowly moving up here on no volume. So, you know, if you did see a lot of these shovel-ready jobs not get the funding that a lot of people have been looking for, this would be kind of an interesting one to watch at about 30 bucks. If it does, my guess is this thing blows through the $30 range. Handful of other stocks. Also wanted to look at the oil services sector as we look at this. Now, this is right up to the $16 level. Let's take, okay. This is the oil and gas spider. And this one, I've been kind of watching here. You spike back up but failed on the September 28th high, $16.72 with 1.3 million shares. That was higher volume than the spike before on July 20th. You did have some decent juice off this October 26th low. You had more energy than the energy on the way down. But once we got back up to this high, you basically ended up with about half the volume, 7,000 shares back here from the September 28th high, where you had almost 1.4 million shares. So almost exactly 50% of the previous volume. You did have kind of a strong day, but didn't break the high on the 6th. So I'm kind of watching this. Now that this kind of back today, looks like it's going to be on lighter volume. Again, a lot of these things may just kind of drift higher all the way to the end of the year and set up the pullback that sometimes happens the first couple of days, weeks, or even all of January.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Come join me next hour as we bisect and dissect these markets. Right here on TFNN. Wow!
And what do we have? I can't find the short interest on Twilio here. I'll try to do that tonight, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Wanted to look at a few other stocks out here. Let's go ahead and WTW. This was an interesting stock. It's you certainly saw the Oprah bounce out here on October 7th. You didn't quite get the abandoned baby, but man, it's awful close to that. on this one. The one thing I couldn't figure out is why Oprah was doing so well as a spokesperson when she didn't actually lose any weight from Weight Watchers. And maybe she didn't have to. Maybe she's just big enough draw that no one cares. But you kind of think that, you know, if you were a race car driver and you were getting paid to push oil or gasoline or any of the other things, tires, you'd probably want to at least be a guy that did something more than lose and was 43rd spot every week. But doesn't seem to matter, at least at the moment. Didn't that moment. But this is coming about as close as you can to the old abandoned baby up here when this thing ran on earnings and then gave it up all the next day and came back. But kind of interesting. You were looking at about 35, 36 bucks back here to support, and that this thing failed so quickly. My guess is that maybe Oprah sold some of those optionable shares that she got a couple of years ago. Maybe that's the reason this thing got clipped so hard. Maybe it's really that business is not that good. They had a lot of shorts going into the earnings last week, and when this thing popped on, what is it, Tuesday, I think. What do you say? Color is purple. Can't imagine that made an entire career, but it did. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pezzavento and John Jameson are teaming up for a live hour-long webinar Wednesday, November 15th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, titled The Hidden Secrets Behind Trading and Investing in Cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are some of the most volatile trading markets in the world right now, and this is a webinar that you will not want to miss. In this live 60-minute webinar, John and Larry will discuss a variety of topics, including where cryptocurrencies trade and how to get started, how to recognize supply and demand in cryptocurrencies, and the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and why knowing this one piece of information puts you in the top 1% of cryptocurrency traders, as well as many more topics. Visit the front page of TFNN.com for all the information and to sign up today for Fibonacci 24/7, and we'll see you Wednesday, November 15th for the hidden secrets behind trading and investing in cryptocurrencies.